You're listening to another episode of the Just Go Bike podcast. That's AKA Murph.
And that's AP. And this is the podcast where we talk about cycling just for the fun of it. With tales from all over the nation, come for the bikes, stay for the fun, and leave with a smile.
Well, hello, Murph. Hey, we are just days away from RAGBRAI 50. Are you ready?
Oh my gosh, it's amazing to think how long we've been talking about this and how long you guys have been planning it. And at this point, training is complete. Whether you're ready or not, listeners, the best week of the year has arrived.
That's right. And along with that, our most popular podcast episode has also arrived.
Woohoo! Yes, I was able to interview someone from each of the overnight towns like we do every year. And to say they're all excited about RAGBRAI is an understatement.
Oh, they've all worked so hard, and I'm just so excited to see their hard work pay off. And I can't wait to hear what they have in store for us, because some of the stuff I know they've had in process since the last time I've talked to the overnight town, so it'll be a surprise for me too.
Sure. Yeah, it was so fun to chat with each one of them. And note, as in years past, this episode is longer. So hopefully you are, buckled into your car driving to RAGBRAI, or maybe you're out on a walk, or who knows what you're doing. But buckle up and let's get ready.
Let's get ready to rumble. And I want to give a quick shout out to my cousin Kia. They're riding their first RAGBRAI this year, and they're only 12 years old. So Kia, you got this. Rib cracker.
That is awesome. Okay, let's get to it. Well, all right, let's kick off RAGBRAI 50 with our first stop, which is in Sioux City, and introduce you to John Burns.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kathy. We are so excited. It is right around the corner. It's crazy how fast it snuck up on us, and we're excited to get into it and let people get to town.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to speak on behalf of all the riders, because probably a bunch of them right now are in their vehicles driving towards Sioux City to find out what is in store for them. So I'm glad to have you on the podcast to tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited to give you guys some things to look for around here. And again, it's going to be a heck of a kickoff to the 50th ride.
All right. Well, before we get into the nitty-gritty of what you're going to bring us riders, will you give everybody an idea of what role that you play as far as like RAGBRAI committees or volunteers or the city?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am fortunate enough to I have a couple of committees I'm on. So I was directly in charge of our hospitality committee, our campgrounds, our sanitation and recycling. That's a coveted position. And overall, just kind of helping with a bunch of different roles. So the city of Sioux City takes on quite a lot to put this on. So we're just incredibly excited to have people finally roll into town. And I think we're ready for everyone. So we're really excited and been doing a lot of work and we're ready to have a party.
Good. And it sounds like some pretty big shoes. I mean, to be on that many committees. So thank you for spending all your time before we get there.
Yeah. It's I think it's going to pay off. It's going to end up being a ton of fun, and it's really cool to see people from all over the world really come in, and it's worth the work. That's for sure.
Definitely, yeah. And I already know the answer to this, but I will still ask it. Has RAGBRAI been through Sioux City before?
Yes. So RAGBRAI, we will probably get to this in a minute, but of course this is where it all started.
Yeah.
So about 50 years ago, we actually will get into this probably in a little bit, but we have a little bit of a nod to literally where it started in Sioux City. But most recently, RAGBRAI was in Sioux City in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a little bit of a hiatus for us. And you couldn't ask for a better time to come back 50 years later from really where it all started. So really looking forward to welcoming people back to town.
And it's just interesting to think back. I was not around to enjoy RAGBRAI 1, which was in 1973. I'm assuming you either, right?
Yeah, no, correct. I was not born. Yes.
But to think about, 200 people versus now you've got like an entire, I don't even know, thousands and thousands of people coming this year.
Yeah, isn't it? It's just weird. I was kind of laughing the other day. We have a sculpture we had created here, and the idea was that it was just like this absurd sculpture. It's interactive, and people take pictures on it. And we just wanted to be as crazy as possible because that was kind of our nod to RAGBRAI even starting. Like, it started with 200 people, and now it's the largest bike ride in the world. It's absurd. So it's kind of our nod to like weird ideas and what they can become. So definitely going to be a fun time here.
Okay, so we already know at least, well, you'll tell us the details in a second, but we know of at least one photo op, but I'm going to guess there's a bazillion more. But before we get into that, do you want to give listeners maybe just a tiny brief history of Sioux City?
Yeah, so for those coming into town, Sioux City, we are the fourth largest city in Iowa. So we have about 100,000 people in the Siouxland area, located right here on the Missouri River. So this is where it all started. This is where RAGBRAI started. We are really looking forward to having people come to town. There's a lot of history here, and a lot of little things to see and to do. So Sioux City is, again, it's really unique in this setting because it is the start of this 50th year anniversary of this ride, and it's come a long way, even since 2015 when people were here last. So there's quite a few amenities that we've added to the city, and really, again, I think people will be impressed and are really going to have a good time.
And everyone already knows this, but when you get to Sioux City, that's when the expo is. So you're basically spending all day Saturday enjoying entertainment, seeing all the vendors, doing all kinds of great things, then camping, and then the next morning is when you leave Sioux City. So do you want to speak at all about the location of the expo, or if there's a site to dip your tires?
Yeah, absolutely. So the tire, dip site is always important. The people who come in, this is an awesome opportunity for a photo of the sort of the before picture, right, before riding all those miles across Iowa. So we will have that available on our riverfront where all of our main campsites are located. So that'll be a big place to make sure you come see on Saturday. Otherwise, we have our expo center, or expo area is going to be right downtown by the Tyson Event Center. So you will not be able to miss it. There's an underpass over the interstate, so it's going to be incredibly accessible to our main campgrounds. And I really like the way it laid out this year. It just it flows really naturally. People will flow from campground right into downtown easily within a walking distance or a ride. And I think it's just going to be a really good layout for how the city will work, and how just to move around from campsite to expo to restaurants and bars and coffee shops and everything that people will be looking for. It'll work out really well. So
good. So as they spend the day, doing what you just mentioned, the expo and all things that are RAGBRAI related, are there any cool sites to see if somebody has a little bit of extra time?
A couple really cool opportunities that are right in our downtown. So we are, again, since we are the 50th, it all started here. Our public museum actually even put together a whole trip down RAGBRAI history, a commemoration of the first event. So if you have time, our Sioux City Public Museum is right downtown on 4th Street. You will literally pass it on the way to the bars if you're going that direction. Stop in and check it out. It's really cool. It's just got a bunch of history of RAGBRAI and again, kind of what this thing turned into. So that is one option for you. We also have our art center that is right downtown. Again, they have some RAGBRAI related works as well. So, and that is, directly across from the expo grounds. So another really cool opportunity where you're not even going that far out of your way. And otherwise, a couple really cool opportunities on your way into town. We have a national monument for our the Sergeant Floyd monument that is really unique to see. We have our Flight 232 memorial where that's almost on the, right around the campgrounds where that, for the memorial of that flight that crashed here in Sioux City. So some really kind of cool pieces of history that, involve our town, and they're all right where people are going to be gathering anyway. So kind of some cool opportunities to go check out. I encourage you to go look around the city. Again, it's changed a lot even since our last time in 2015. So a lot of new offerings, and really looking forward to having people come around and enjoy.
Good. And how about some entertainment?
Yeah, so entertainment, of course, we will have our main stage. we are lucky to have the spin doctors that are going to be
Yes.
playing, so
So
that is going to
excited.
be awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. We're really excited to get them on board. So, yeah, they're going to be our headliners, but of course we're going to have a ton of local artists on that main stage.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to that, our historic 4th Street. So again, if you are kind of looking for the bar scene or a restaurant to go order some food, make your way over to 4th Street. It's really unique. They're blocking off the entire street. So they're kind of going to have a block party. They're going to have additional local artists playing bands over there. So there are no shortage of breweries or places to go grab a drink. Again, all within walking distance of the expo and the main campgrounds. And outside of that, again, there's other opportunities. Since the Hard Rock is one of our sponsors, try your luck at the Hard Rock. The casino is right downtown as well. Yeah, always a hit if it's in walking distance. And it's just going to be a really cool event. We're hoping to kind of have a couple. We're hoping to finalize something that would be really cool in terms of our Air Force base that we have here in Sioux City, and we'll see if it ends up coming through, but it might be a cool little display that they're able to put together for us as well. So just trying to do some things that people will remember Sioux City for.
Nice. And you may have alluded to this earlier, but does your community have some sort of theme that maybe is kind of a nod back to 1973?
Yes, like everyone else, our theme does have a little bit of a nod back to the history of RAGBRAI. So ours is, and since we are the starting location, of course, we had to really lean into that. So ours is "You'll Never Forget Your First Ride,"
Oh, nice.
which I think is exactly, yeah, that'll sell on a T-shirt. Which, by the way, will be sold. So go find a T-shirt and buy one. But no, it's a funny theme, and it's awesome because we're excited. We hope people don't forget Sioux City and their the first leg of this ride, and of course the people who have been doing this for years. You never really forget RAGBRAI after you do it. So I think it's an awesome theme, and then that's kind of the idea of welcoming people to town here.
I mean, there's nonstop action that will take place all day on Saturday. So then, Spin Doctors has an amazing show. Everybody goes back to their camp and gets a good night's rest, or at least a little bit of rest. And what can they expect as they're leaving Sioux City the next day as far as, are they going to see farmland? Are they going to go through town? Give us an overview.
Yeah, great question. So people are going to ride out of one of our main campsites or Riverside Park, some of our secondary campsites, and they're going to, of course, go through the middle of town. I mean, that's how everyone will be getting out of town.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have some, final stops around, just before you're leaving. For example, we're going to have vendors set up, with flipping pancakes and have some coffee trucks and just some stuff that, some water bottle filling stations, just the last little park you'll hit before you leave town.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you exit town, you get to embark on the second hilliest day of the year for what we would call long and gradual slow rollers. So that'll be a ton of fun for everybody, kind of on the first, and it kind of hits you right away leaving Sioux City. So it'll be a lot of fun, but it is literally all downhill after you get out of basically our first county here. So you expect some hills and some farmland as you're leaving town, and again, some opportunities just kind of as you're riding through town to stop, get some, get a water, Powerade, whatever it might be. There's going to be a ton of businesses along the route on the way out of town, so there will be ample opportunity for bikers.
Mm-hmm.
I would encourage you to kind of, as you get further up our first couple streets, you'll see a ton of, there's Hy-Vees and grocery stores and stuff like that. That might be a little bit of an easier bet than going into some of the gas stations that may run out. So if your first couple gas stations you see are out of whatever you're looking for, don't worry, there's plenty more up throughout the route on the way out of town in Sioux City. So we should have plenty of water to go around, and hopefully we get some good weather for it as well.
That is a nice feature, that your community is a little bit bigger so that people can, have the time and the resources to be able to stop at different places to grab what they need.
Yeah, absolutely. And same thing with our support vehicles. As they're leaving town, they're going out a little bit of a different direction. But yes, there will be plenty of opportunity to stop and load up on whatever you are looking for right before you leave town and kind of embark on that first leg of the route.
Good. Well, if people want to check things out, after they listen to this podcast, maybe there are a few more details they want to look at, like maybe specifically where the campgrounds are or the expo location, where can they go on either social media or a website?
Yeah, so we, of course, have our own Facebook page. So that is labeled Sioux City RAGBRAI. We link, of course, to our website, which is RAGBRAI Sioux City, so just flip-flopped. And we have been trying to put up a ton of information there. So that website changes literally daily. We add information as it comes in. So anyone looking for FAQs or just any general info should go to that website or our Facebook page. And again, we are trying to set people up for success on kind of what to expect in Sioux City. We will have, of course, a ton of volunteers and information booths on the day of the event. So there should be no lack of being able to find that information in person and ahead of time by using our websites.
Excellent. Sounds like you guys are ready for us.
We are. Like I said, it's been a lot of work, and we're just kind of ready for the party to come to town. And I mean, we're really excited. It's fun for you guys as the riders, but of course it's fun for us, right? We enjoy being hospitable and welcoming people to town from all over the country and the world. And again, people have really fun, just cool stories and experiences, and it's really unique to be able to welcome them here to our community.
Yeah, and to have that many people, thousands and thousands, the opportunity to showcase Sioux City. So we're excited as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a party. And again, I say thank you for taking the time to let me come on and talk a little bit about Sioux City. And again, just looking forward to seeing everyone, and hopefully everyone will have a great time and a safe ride, and really, really looking forward to this huge event, bigger than it's been ever, I think. So it's going to be a ton of fun with literally tens of thousands of riders this year. So
awesome. Well, thank you so much, John, for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks again, Kathy.
All right, well, the next town is Storm Lake, and I'd like to welcome Mayor Mike Porsche to the show.
Thank you very much, and welcome to you also.
Yeah, well,
it's an exciting time.
It is an exciting time, and this is our most popular episode where everyone is excited and probably on the road driving to Sioux City to get started, and here we are in Storm Lake.
And we are looking for those riders to come get here from Sioux City.
Yeah,
I know this is the seventh time that we've hosted. So I've been involved in probably the last 5 or 6 of them. So
okay.
Never to the extent that the size of this appears to be. So,
well, before we get into the the nitty gritty of RAGBRAI coming through your community, as I mentioned, you are the mayor of Storm Lake. But what role are you playing as far as RAGBRAI itself?
I'm also on the executive committee.
Okay.
One of the executive committee members, and I'm kind of oversee the beverage, entertainment, food vendors, electrical, that type of stuff. So.
Okay. And before we push record, we briefly talked about Storm Lake is also celebrating 150 years, what is the word for that?
Sesquicentennial.
I don't even know if I can say it.
Sesquicentennial. I've had to practice that as mayor. We've had to come up at several council meetings, and I have practiced quite a bit this year to make sure I say it correctly. So
awesome. Well, congratulations on that. So you've got, of course, you probably always have events going on in Storm Lake, but you've got a couple big ones this year with that and RAGBRAI.
Correct. Like I said, we're opening a time capsule this evening for the sesquicentennial, and I was actually in high school when they buried the time capsule, so it's going to be interesting to see what they put in it. I don't remember.
Oh, for sure.
Being a high school kid, I didn't care too much about it because I figured I wasn't going to be around when any were opened up anyway. but here I am.
Here you are. Well, do you want to give the listeners maybe a brief history of Storm Lake?
Yes. Like I said, we're incorporated 150 years ago. So actually, I've had an opportunity to look through some of the history for the sesquicentennial, because the town actually started probably 20 years before that. The first settlers were actually here. They apparently came across the prairies and saw the glacial lake here and decided this would be a pretty cool place to set up shop. So they did. And one of the interesting things I saw when I was going through that is back in those days, 150 years ago, when they started setting up lots for people to buy, to settle on, they left several acres along the north shore of the lake for parks. And those still are there. Those parks are still part of the community today. They have never been developed.
Wow.
I mean, into homes. They've been developed into park system.
Yeah.
But they've never been developed into homes. So I mean, we're unique in that, I think, in the state, in that we have probably at least half of our north shore of the lake is all park system. It's not residential and stuff. So that's kind of cool. And it was interesting reading that the settlers back then declared that they wanted so much land for parks, and it's stayed that way. And community people have battled that over the years to keep those
to keep it that way.
And it's been very, very important to the community, the park system.
Oh, that's great. And to be able to showcase it, for an event like RAGBRAI, you're going to have thousands
Absolutely.
and thousands
No, I mean,
of people.
Yeah, it's going to be, the park system mainly is going to handle a lot of the charters and those groups. So they're going to have a beautiful view.
Okay, so speaking of beautiful view, this is the day, riders are starting out. It's a hilly day, but tell them.
Yes, it is.
Tell the listeners what to expect as they're rolling into Storm Lake. I mean, is farmland? Is it? Tell us what we'll see.
Well, fortunately, about the last 15 miles or so are going to be flat, so they'll be able to catch their wind, for one thing, and it's farmland coming in on the west side of town until you hit town, and then you'll come right into the first park that's on the west side of the lake, and the lake will be right there. So first thing you'll see is part of our park system and the lake. So then you'll travel into the community and go along the lake shore the entire way, get to about the middle of town, Lake Avenue, then they head north out to the main campground. But you'll be able to travel through, they'll be traveling through Buena Vista University's campus, go right through the campus there. So, and they have a beautiful campus. So it's going to be a real scenic ride through the community. You'll get to see the lake and stuff right out of the chute coming into town, and we'll have hospitality area, information center right as they come into town also.
And I'm assuming you guys are well versed in your theme and all of that good stuff. Do you want to get into that?
Sure. We're very proud of. I mean, we're one of the most diverse communities in the state of Iowa, particularly for our size, and we're very proud of our diversity. And the hospitality areas and information centers are going to be themed as Micronesian theme at one of them. I think they're having a Mexican. One of the information centers will be Mexican themed. Another, the Buddhist temple, the Laotian Southeast Asian themed, and they'll be decorated in those themes. And hopefully, trying to line up, we'll have some of those like that, and El Salvadorian dancers with cultural type of music, just to show off some of that type of entertainment, because it is really cool to see some of the dancers, and then they're trying to hopefully set up some food, ethnic food at those hospitality areas also.
Oh, nice.
So.
Okay. And like Storm Lake is, to me, this is my opinion only, but kind of the perfect size for a RAGBRAI overnight, because it's not a really huge community. It's very, I don't know if compact is the right word, but I'm assuming as riders come into town, they're going to have those beautiful views. Plus, they'll be praising you for the flat 15 miles in. Yeah. But once you're into town,
and they'll be able to jump in the lake if they're really hot.
There you go.
When they come into town.
Yeah, there you go.
We got a nice beach right there, so they'll be able to pull off to the side if they want to and hit the lake.
Oh, perfect. And tell us about, as far as, of course, we've got the big headliner at night, but do you have entertainment planned for the whole day?
Yes, we have two groups. One starting at 4:30. It's called Wild Ambition. Both of these groups are relatively local groups. They'll be at 4:30, and then we have another group, Neil Anders and the brothers Merritt.
Mm.
They're at 6:30, and before then, starting at 3 o'clock, we'll have a local DJ playing music at the entertainment area. So, so we plan on having music starting at 3 o'clock.
Okay.
In the entertainment venue.
So jump in the lake, cool off, and then go catch some entertainment before you head to your campsite, right?
Right. And you can even head to your campsite first if you want to cool down, relax a little bit, get a shower in, and then you can head to the entertainment area. We'll have shuttles running. We'll have an express shuttle actually from the main campground running from there nonstop to the entertainment venue. So there won't be a bunch of stops along the way. We'll just be able to move people.
Okay, good. And you mentioned the college there. Is it a college or university?
University.
Okay. So you mentioned the university there in your hometown, but do you have any other like must-see places while people are in your community?
Well, if you like culture and history, we have Santa's Castle. It's a big hit during Christmas time, obviously, but it'll be open. It's our old library way back in the day, and it's like a castle. And they have animated Christmas scenes, automated scenes within that is really a cool thing to see. And it's right downtown. It's just like a block off of our downtown to the east. Right by the courthouse, across the street from the courthouse. And also in that courthouse square, there's an art gallery. It's called Witter's Gallery. That's going to be open also. We have a historical museum, and also you probably have heard, they're doing the wheat painting.
Yeah, the wheat paste.
Yeah, the wheat paste painting, that's going to be downtown.
Okay.
Also right on that same corner, so they can stop at the corner and see the wheat paste painting on one corner, and then go a block to the east and hit Santa's Castle and the art gallery.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so there's a lot of just little cool things downtown. We have if anybody wants homemade ice cream, you have a Storm Lake candy shop downtown. I think I've ridden RAGBRAI once for a few days, and I know that an ice cream shop would be a good hit.
Yeah,
and that's right downtown also. So hopefully on the bike route, when they'll go along the lake about halfway, and then they come up our main street to head out to the main campgrounds, which is on the north side of town. And they'll go right through downtown, so they'll be in close proximity to all these places.
Okay. So I already have a mental list of things that I want to do when I'm there, besides all of the craziness that RAGBRAI brings.
That's right.
So if anyone wants to learn more about Storm Lake or RAGBRAI plans, do you have social media pages?
Yes, we have. It's Storm Lake, RAGBRAI.com. That's the web page. Facebook and different social media off of that. And then we also have our City of Storm Lake Facebook page.
Okay. And then, so everyone enjoys the night. They get to their campground. They wake up the next morning. As they leave Storm Lake, will you have vendors set up, or are they going to be just cruising on into the next community to get their breakfast and such?
There will be some vendors set up. I think there'll be a vendor out at the main campground. I know there is it's called Bridge. They're doing coffee. They make their own coffee. They're multicultural. After school and that type of stuff, they work real hard with the kids of our community, and they're doing a fundraiser with coffee and stuff. And that'll also be at where the food vendors are the night before. And the entertainment and food vendors and stuff are set up on the northwest or the northeast corner of the lake. It's going to just be a beautiful setting, weather permitting, of course. But I mean, you'll be able to sit there and listen to the music and see the sunset across the lake.
Yeah, I don't know if our executive director Matt Phippen guaranteed good weather like he did last year, but I'm gonna bank on it, right?
Yeah. Well, when they were here for their pre-ride, we had a picnic along the lake, and it was gorgeous that night. So
yeah, I was there, and I was just going to say I have one of my favorite photos is from that night.
Yeah, I mean, it was beautiful that night. Hopefully we have one just like it.
Gosh, it was beautiful. So, well, great. Well, Mayor, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the podcast and showcase your community, and we are very, very excited to make our way there.
I think they'll enjoy their night here, so
okay.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, next up, I would like to welcome Linda, who is representing Carroll.
Hi there, this is Linda Dukes-Franey, and I'm happy to be here with you today and a guest on your Just Go Bike podcast, and hope we can get some great information together today to entertain the listeners.
Yes, definitely. Glad to have you on. Do you want to describe maybe your role with the RAGBRAI committees or volunteer position that you have?
Absolutely. My role is I'm on the executive committee, and we split up the committees between all the executive members. My husband and I, Mike, are heading up the committees for entertainment, and vendors, beer garden, and electrical.
All super important. Actually, all of the categories are super important, but you've got some big ones.
I got some big ones and some fun ones, though.
Good. Well, has RAGBRAI ever come through Carroll before?
It has. It was, the first time was in 1980, then 88, 94, in 2011, and I was in this same role in 2011, and now, of course, 2023.
So we've got a pro that will be kind of, running the show. Of course, there's going to be a few more people than there were last time we came through.
I heard that.
Well, how about...
changed, in that amount of time too. So it's been, another learning curve. There's a lot of things that were not available in 2011 to help us throw this out, roll out the red carpet that there are today. So that's been fun too.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm going to guess, I may be wrong, but I would assume the population of Carroll maybe has increased a little bit since 2011.
Oddly not. Nope. We're about the same. Yep.
Wow. Well, how about along that same lines, a brief history of your awesome community?
You bet. Carroll County was created in 1851. And kind of a fun fact is Charles Carroll was the only Catholic signer of the Declaration of Independence. And Carroll was named after Charles Carroll.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and he was also the last surviving signer. He died at 95 years of age. So, a lot of the history and behind the name of the town and some of the heritage of the town came through Charles Carroll. And, it could be a direct reflection on the Catholic heritage here in Carroll, too. Mm-hmm. It's been a very strong Catholic community for years, ending with 14 different parishes in the area. Big, strong Catholic community and some very strong German heritage. So Carroll itself was established in 1869.
And have you been a resident for a while in Carroll?
I have. I moved here in 1989.
Oh, nice. Okay. So you know the ins and outs of Carroll big time.
Probably. Some of the things but I think it would have been fun to live here. Part of our history, too, has to do with Prohibition. So during Prohibition, it was some very big bootlegging whiskey days in Carroll County. And that's kind of a nod to that history is how we came up with our theme.
Oh, do you want to tell us the theme now?
Yeah, sure. It's Carroll, you'll have a barrel of fun.
Oh,
so
excellent.
Whiskey barrels, wine barrels, the different barrels that represent some of the history of the bootlegging and the alcohol that has been made right here in Carroll County, like Iowa Legendary Rye, Templeton Rye. We have a brewery and a winery right here in Carroll County.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's a lot of stuff to look forward to as far as, people that are into alcohol and the finer things. When you have product made right in your community, that's like a step up.
Absolutely. The alcohology store is great, even if you don't want to consume it. Some of the buildings, like the winery, for example, has great history to it. So if people come to town, you might definitely want to go to the winery. I know they'll be serving food that day, but the history and the aesthetic of that facility is aged way back. It's just a gorgeous building to even look at, take pictures of, take in while you're here in Carroll.
And Andrea and I, AP and I, actually recorded our podcast from that winery. We were tucked away into one of the side rooms, but it is definitely worth walking through. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so riders are going to be finishing up Monday. They've ridden at this point, I think it's around 60 miles to get to Carroll after a pretty big day Sunday. So they are coming into Carroll. They want to know, what's it going to be like as far as the terrain? Are they going to have to, get some big hills before they hit Carroll? Are there farms to look at? Will you kind of give us an idea of what they're going to see?
Yeah, I think the route that day will be a perfect representation of rural Iowa,
Okay.
specifically Carroll County. Carroll County is in the top 5 in the state of Iowa for cattle and hog production.
Mm.
So, I know there's a very diverse group of people registered for this ride, and many may have never even seen a cornfield, a bean field, livestock. So they'll see plenty of that, and it's part of what makes Iowa, Iowa. So I think it'll be a beautiful ride from Storm Lake to Carroll.
All right. I agree with that for sure. And then you've already kind of told us the theme. So as
Yeah.
riders actually get into town, what are they going to see as far as, campground and vendors and, what's going to be happening?
Well, when they first initially come in, there'll be a great welcome committee. We'll be right there to cheer people on and get them into town. They're not too far at the entrance of Carroll on the northwest side, that they will just travel east a little ways to our main campground,
Mm-hmm.
which is out by our high school north of town. So that part will be super easy to get them into the main camping area. We have set up a really cool festival area. Something that was different than if anybody was here in 11. We have really made it more of a family-friendly festival area. So we'll have a lot of the area closed off. And of course, they can find all these maps at carrollragbrai.com in our Facebook and our socials. But we really want a nice flow of vendors, music, things to look at in our downtown area. So they'll get a good overview in the festival area of who Carroll is.
And I'm assuming you'll have all kinds of entertainment well before the headliner that night.
Yes, actually, we have several locations of entertainment previous to the big stage.
Mm.
So we have a local facility or a local restaurant called Wasted Grain that's very new to Carroll, but they will be having some entertainment at their location, and they're one of our sponsors. So be sure to check out, Wasted Grain, but they're going to have some entertainment in the afternoon. We have a stage that we're calling the Barrel Stage, which is downtown by our brewery, by the Carroll Brewery, our Carroll Moose, and by a little establishment called Kerps. We'll have a stage down there that will have entertainment going from like noon to 6, and just really trying to highlight our local talent there.
Mm-hmm.
So there'll be 3 different bands playing that day: Age Spirits, 2.5 guitars, and Scott Kirkhart will be playing at the end of that day. So we'll have that going on. We're going to have a DJ in another area who will be playing everybody knows kind of music. We have a slip and slide, and we have mechanical bull, and of course other things that people would want to catch. I think right down in that area is our Carroll County Historical Society Museum. And that museum will be open. They're looking forward to people coming in to check out the history of Carroll County. They'll have hours. So all kinds of things. We're really designing our space so that we can help as many businesses and establishments and history of Carroll to really shine that day.
Oh, for sure. I don't think I mentioned it when we were talking as far as the Sunday route goes, but there are some pretty cool murals that are happening every single day. Do you want to highlight on that as far as where it'll be in Carroll?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're super excited that there was a grant given to a phenomenal artist who will be doing wheat paste murals in every overnight town. So we will be able to put this artwork up on the side of a building so that people can, look at it, but also take photo ops with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it'll just be fun because then they can look for that mural in every city and, see the collection and theme behind all of the artwork that is being done with the wheat paste. So ours will be down in our festival area.
Mm-hmm.
So we may have even 2 of them. So I know one for sure, but both of those will be in our festival area. And we are very honored that this grant was given so that we could display the wheat paste mural. So super cool thing, riders, to check out in every overnight town.
Yeah, definitely. And if you hit it right, depending on when you roll into town, you may see it in progress because they are actually creating them or putting them up throughout the week. So that part's even more cool.
Yes. And also super neat because they're going to have local students in Carroll help with the putting up of the mural. So they'll get some experience or even just have fun participating in that process. So I think that's a neat also way to include the community in the placement of it.
Well, you mentioned it briefly, but will you tell the listeners again where they can go, like on social media or a website, to find out more information about Carroll?
Yeah, definitely. We have our own Facebook page, Carroll RAGBRAI, and that's Carroll with 2 R's and 2 L's.
Mm-hmm.
And you also will be able to find it on our website, which is carrollragbrai.com.
Easy enough.
Yes.
So riders are going to have a great time in Carroll. They're going to, see a great headliner, all the different entertainment you have ready. They go to bed. The next morning, will you have vendors set up, or will it be more of as they leave town, they'll catch the next community for breakfast and such?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have, of course, our local businesses that will be open to individuals the next morning, but we are not providing vendors. We really wanted to allow the next coming towns and communities to have the opportunity to serve the breakfast and have the opportunity to, have people see their establishments and enjoy that as well. So they can look forward to Glidden, the next town east of us, for some of those goodies.
Yes, and I think it's only 9 miles from Carroll. So definitely there'll be probably vendors along the way and then plenty to see in Glidden. So, well, thank you so much, Linda, for coming on the podcast to talk about Carroll. And we are all very, very excited to see you in a matter of days.
Yeah, it's not going to be long. And I promise you, in Carroll, you'll have a barrel of fun.
Yay. All right. Thank you. Next overnight town is Ames, and with me right now is Kevin. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Kathy, how you doing?
Good. We are excited to come visit your community and appreciate the time that you are taking to tell the world a little bit about what to expect in Ames.
Oh, absolutely. We're really excited to have RAGBRAI this year, with it being the 50th anniversary. So, can't wait to have everybody experience our town.
Excellent. Well, before we get into the deep dive into Ames, will you tell the listeners maybe what role you're playing as far as getting ready?
Sure. I am the president and CEO for the Discover Ames,
Oh, okay.
and we are serving as the LOC. So I'm heading up the LOC for Ames and Iowa State University.
Okay, so you're a busy man all year round, but especially busy as we get closer.
Absolutely. Yeah. This has been something in the works for just about a year now.
Mm-hmm.
So, with our community in Ames and Iowa State University, it's unique. We're used to hosting big events, like when we have football games and concerts and things like that. But this is a unique event. So we have some advantages, but there's always that unknown with RAGBRAI, never knowing what the weather's going to be like. And most of our other events, we don't have people camping around campus and around the community.
And more than a few people.
Absolutely. Yes.
Well, I already know the answer to this question, but can you tell the listeners if RAGBRAI has been through Ames before?
Yeah, we were on the original route, and that's kind of why I say we've been planning this for almost a year, because we were hopeful, even with the former leadership with RAGBRAI, there was discussion about maybe trying to recreate the overnight route, and so we were hopeful that we would be selected since we were on the original route. But most recently, we've hosted it numerous times, but most recently was in 2008 and then again in 2018. So not that long ago, about 5 years ago.
I remember it well, being able to get inside Jack Trice Stadium. That was quite a treat. And I'm assuming Iowans will know this, but for people who don't live in Iowa, Ames is home to the Iowa State University.
Correct, home of the Cyclones. So you mentioned Jack Trice Stadium, and that will be a feature for riders as they come into town. Again, this year, a little bit different view, a different look, and the stadium looks a whole lot different than it did back then. So we've got some pretty unique and fun things that'll be happening in the stadium as well.
Yeah, it's a treat for riders this year because well, let me side note, I am a UNI Panther graduate, so I'll just leave it at that. But it's
I
so,
root for the Panthers. My daughter went to UNI, so
okay, good.
I also had one that went to Iowa State too. So
Okay, good. But this year we will be hitting both University of Iowa and Iowa State University. So it's really a treat to be able to go to both of those universities while we ride across Iowa.
right, yeah, and I know that Kinnick is going to be involved when they get to Iowa City as well. But
Hmm.
I think some of the things that we have planned at Iowa State in Jack Trice's are going to be pretty unique with the video boards and ribbon boards that we have. And we've got a surprise for riders as they come in, and they can look for their team name on the ribbon board as they go around.
Ooh.
So it'll be kind of fun. So we kind of personalize it a little bit for the riders as well. So then one of the neat features that we have is riders will be able to see the two Cyhawk trophies, the Cyhawk Series and the football trophy.
Hmm.
It's the only place that and the only stadium that they'll be able to see those trophies in Iowa this year. So we're excited about that.
Yeah, that is exciting. And we should probably, back up a little bit here. Besides being the home of the Iowa State Cyclones, there's so much more in your community, in your town. Do you want to just give maybe like a brief history of Ames and then maybe a fun fact or two?
Well, Ames has really started because of the university. The community of Ames started in 1864, and the university had its first graduating class in 1868, so 4 years later. So Ames, with Iowa State University, it's an integral part of the community. We are a railroad town with tracks going through it, and it's named after a former railroader. But we are also home to the Iowa DOT and home to the National Animal Disease Lab, one of a national lab. There's very few of them around the country, and we're home to that as well. So, the university and the city are two. They're two different entities, but when it comes to events like this and other things, we really become one, and it's an awesome community. The way that the town and gown relationship is extraordinary, and it's great to see.
Mm-hmm. And how about as riders, make their way towards Ames, this day is going to be, I think it's around 80-ish miles. So they'll have had a big day as they come into Ames. But what can they expect as far as, is it farm fields? Is it hilly? Like, give us a little idea.
Well, as you may know, Ames and central Iowa, this part of Iowa is part of the Des Moines lobe, and really had glaciers that came through here. And so central Iowa is relatively flat.
Mm-hmm.
And so as riders come into Ames, for the most part, it's going to be relatively moderate rolling hills. We know that this is also the Century Day. But one of the nice things is as they get into Ames and as they make their way to Jack Trice Stadium, it's mostly downhill. So it's going to be kind of nice coming into town.
Sure. And tell us what your theme is going to be.
Our theme this year is cycling, fun, and games. And as I like to say, cycling, fun, and Ames, highlighting the Ames part of the word games. So, with utilizing Jack Trice Stadium and just all the activities that'll be going around the community, we think it's just going to be a fun atmosphere and with the games theme of the football stadium. So really a fun atmosphere in Ames.
Mm-hmm. And how about, obviously people can go to your website to get specifics on like, what street campgrounds are on and that sort of thing. But in general, are you going to have vendors set up in, walkable areas, or kind of give us a feel for what we can expect?
Well, campgrounds this year it's a challenge. When we hosted RAGBRAI back in 18, there were 8,500 registered week-long riders, and this year there's 20,500 registered riders for the week. So it's I don't think those are all new riders. I think maybe some of them weren't registered before, but came to town.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a little bit more of a challenge that we don't really have one huge main campground.
Mm-hmm.
RAGBRAI does have their main campground, as they call it, where they are transporting equipment and supplies for riders that are tent camping, and that's going to be at Brookside Park, a city park. But we're using a lot of the university grounds that are typically used for tailgates, a lot of the grass lots,
Mm.
and as well as some other city parks. We're using private landowners as well. We've got what is, if people that are familiar with Ames know, the Haunted Forest, which is close to Jack Trice Stadium. It's privately owned. We've got other businesses in town that are lending their land that they've got available.
Mm.
So we really have about 21 different
Oh,
campgrounds.
wow.
They're all going to be, they're not really spread out, but they're all kind of pockets around the main area around Jack Trice Stadium. And that's where we've got a lot of vendors in our showers and all of those kind of things. But then downtown, the downtown piece is where a lot of vendors, particularly food vendors, will be.
And will there be shuttle service if somebody is a little bit further away from the vendors and such?
Absolutely. Yep. We're
Excellent.
providing a free shuttle. We have 4 different routes. One that will be going from Brookside Park, RAGBRAI's main campground, that'll take people to downtown. And then we've got 3 other routes that'll be going throughout Ames with multiple stops from the main campgrounds.
And in addition to the big headliner, what sort of entertainment do you have in store for us?
Well, we've got, in addition to our main stage, we'll have a secondary stage, and we've got a lot of local bands, a lot of local favorite bands that'll be performing starting at 2 in the afternoon, actually.
Oh, wow.
And that's all in our downtown. And we've got an amazing downtown. I love Ames downtown because we don't have empty storefronts very long. If something does happen to move or go out of business for whatever reason, there's always something else to move right in. So
Mm-hmm.
our downtown is pretty amazing. And to have the concerts down there, we'll have several blocks blocked off, and that will be all open container in that area. But we've got local bands that'll be going on both stages that'll be performing starting at 2 o'clock all day long. Hairball, which is our main act, they take the stage at 8:30 p.m. and will play straight through for 2 hours to 10:30.
Wow.
And our secondary stage will actually be going at the same time, and we'll have somebody going until 11 o'clock.
And Hairball is a longtime RAGBRAI favorite band, so that's going to be a really fun night.
Oh, they really are. They're extremely entertaining. They play everything they play, everybody's heard of. And that's what's kind of fun because you can always sing along to it.
Sure, yeah. And so you said definitely, heading downtown to see all the RAGBRAI festivities, but then also it's just a really cool area to be in. Any other must-see places that listeners need to check out before they leave Ames?
Well, I know that when riders come in, they've got to make sure they do experience Jack Trice Stadium. I know it is a football stadium and there's not a game going on, but I think we've got a lot of fun things and surprising things for people to experience. And that's a big attraction for us. And right next to Jack Trice, and actually the main entrance to Ryman Gardens, the riders will be going right by the main entrance. If you're looking for just a break and a just nice quiet place to go, Ryman Garden is right next to Jack Trice Stadium. But Ames Central Campus, or Iowa State University's Central Campus, is just, I think, the most beautiful campus I've been on. And I used to coach at Iowa State. I visited, I don't know, I would say probably close to 100 different campuses. And I still believe that Iowa State is the most beautiful. So I think people have an opportunity. You can bike right through campus. It's a beautiful central campus with a lot of public art, just a beautiful scenery.
And I will say, when we came through, 3 or 4 weeks ago on the inspection ride, I got to tell you, pedaling through the stadium was really a treat. So I hope people are going to take the time to do that as they roll into town.
Right. Because I know a lot of people want to get to their campgrounds as soon as they get into town, but if they can finish that experience. And the one thing I didn't mention, there's a new bridge that leaves Jack Trice Stadium that'll take riders over to really our main information area, and will be able to help people direct them to their assigned campgrounds, or if they're looking for campgrounds. And that bridge is just a really fun experience.
Yes, awesome. Okay, so if people want to go somewhere online to find out more information, can you tell us maybe a website and social media?
Sure. DiscoverAmes.com and /RAGBRAI. And on Facebook, it's Ames RAGBRAI. If you just go to the website, discoverames.com /RAGBRAI, you can get links to all our social media outlets.
Easy enough. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for taking the time, and we're definitely very excited to be rolling into Ames.
Well, Kathy, it's my pleasure, and we will really look forward to having everyone come to Ames and experience Ames.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, a warm welcome to Catherine, who will be part of the team hosting us Thursday night in Tama-Toledo.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, how are you today?
We are absolutely terrific.
Good. And of course, listeners know that we're recording this before all the RAGBRAI riders come through. So this is your chance to tell us what we can expect when we come to Tama-Toledo.
Oh, that's great. We're so excited. We're going to go back. We're going to celebrate the inaugural year of the ride, all things 1973.
Excellent.
So we are super excited as riders come to town. They're going to feel the vibe, the style, the music, everything from 1973.
Oh, that's so awesome. And that's my favorite genre of music, by the way. So that'll be...
It is the best music.
Yeah. Well, tell us your title or what your role is in the whole RAGBRAI experience.
Okay, sure. I am actually the executive director of Tama County Economic Development.
Oh, okay.
So this is a joint project because this is such a big lift for two small communities.
Mm-hmm.
We had to bring another entity to the table to help with all of the tasks. So we're working directly with the Tama-Toledo Chamber of Commerce on this project. So I'm the event chair for the entire event for Tama-Toledo.
Oh my goodness, what a huge weight on your shoulders.
It has been a lot. We're still trying to take care of the rest of the county and then make sure we're ready for Thursday when everyone rides into town.
Awesome. Has RAGBRAI ever been through your community before?
We last hosted in 2008.
Oh.
So, of course, that was a rough flood year for Iowa. So we're enjoying this beautiful weather leading up to this year's hosting opportunity.
It has been, yeah. Much, much different than 2008, especially if you are an Iowan, you know exactly what we're talking about.
Exactly. Catastrophic floods. It was a big lift for the committee that year, and their contingency plans were long and deep.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, how about before we get into the plans for Tama-Toledo, do you want to give the listeners just a brief history about the community?
Sure, you bet. We're two communities that sit directly beside each other. A lot of people keep asking, how far away is Tama from Toledo? The two have literally grown together in the last few decades. So, like in Tama's case, Tama got its start back in 1862, like following, of course, railroad construction. And Tama sits about, 6 or 7 miles from the Meskwaki settlement.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a Native American community in Tama County. And Tama's located along the Lincoln Highway. So we are on the old Lincoln Highway. That's the road riders will be coming in on, is the old Lincoln Highway.
Mm-hmm.
We have a National Register of Historic Places, the Lincoln Highway Bridge. We have a one-of-a-kind bridge left in our county from crossing the United States on that Lincoln Highway. And so then just a year later, Toledo was founded in 1853. And Tama was first, of course, but then Toledo was actually named the county seat. And so Toledo is the county seat for Tama County.
And obviously, like you said, it used to be two separate communities, but now it's grown together as population grows.
It did. It did. Over the years, the two communities, as they grew, they just literally grew together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why so often you never hear anyone say just Tama or just Toledo. It's very rare that you don't hear someone say Tama-Toledo. We're just all one community.
Yeah. Okay, so riders are going to be hitting your community Thursday afternoon, maybe even earlier. So give us an idea of what the terrain is like. I mean, are they going to be seeing farms, hills? What are they going to see as they come into your community?
This is where it's really going to get fun. We have one last hill that we're going to push the riders up. And then as soon as you hit the top of that hill, you start to come down into the Tama-Toledo area.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long valley. It's the last 7.2 miles after you make your final turn. It's river bottom country with all kinds of trees and birds. And we're hoping the eagles aren't hiding that day. And it is just gorgeous Iowa river bottom country. So beautiful. There'll be some shade. It'll cool down a little as they get down closer to the river bottom area.
Mm-hmm.
They'll come through there. They'll go past the Meskwaki powwow grounds, which is really exciting. And then one last, what's not even going to hardly seem like a hill, and then they'll pop into town.
Awesome. I can't wait.
It's a beautiful, beautiful ride.
Okay. And riders will want that after, this is Thursday. So they've been riding all week and doing some elevation. So it sounds like it's a beautiful ride into Tama-Toledo.
It is. It is. And it's a long day. So I think that last 7.2 miles is going to feel like a breath of fresh air.
All right, great. And then you gave us a hint, said that you're kind of going back to the roots of 1973. But tell us what riders can expect as they roll into town as far as sights to see and, campgrounds and your theme, all that.
Okay. As riders come into town, of course, you're going to sort of feel like you step back into the Twilight Zone. And you're going to see a lot of peace signs. You're going to see the word groovy about everywhere imaginable. And we absolutely stuck with that theme on our entertainment lineup. On our main stage in Toledo Heights Park, we'll actually be opening with a local band, Undercurrent. And then we're moving on. And I'm worried unless riders hammer down, they're going to miss this one. We are bringing in an Earth, Wind, and Fire tribute band that is
fun.
absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
They are full costumes, choreography, and you're going to feel like you're watching Earth, Wind, and Fire in 1973.
And where will that be located?
That will all be at the Toledo Heights Park. So our main stage is located in the Toledo Heights Park.
Okay.
It's a 27-acre, just beautiful wooded park. And that's where everything will be. The beer tent, all the food vendors, all the entertainment, a medical tent will be there. So the riders will all be funneled towards that main park in the community of Toledo. But campgrounds will be a little bit of everywhere. When you show up in a small town and there's that many of you, we have to put you a little bit of everywhere. And so we literally have 17 different campgrounds. We have the main campground at the high school, and then we have spread campgrounds throughout both communities, anywhere from, say, 2 acres up to 12 or 15 or 20. So we have 108 acres of campgrounds. We know we are not going to lack for a place to put people. And then people will be able to move throughout both communities on a public bus system. And we'll run public buses for 12 hours for free that day. So after our local band and Earth, Wind, and Fire, then we're super excited about this one. We are going to bring on Not Quite Brothers.
Wow, that is such a fun band. Hopefully people have heard them before, or they can Google it to get a snippet of what they play.
Exactly. These guys are super high energy and they play all of our 70s music. And they're an Iowa band. So we love the fact that we've got an Iowa band coming to get us through that late afternoon, early evening. Not Quite Brothers is going to come on the stage at 6:15.
Okay.
So we said riders are going to want to, if this is something they want to see, we know this is a hammer down day. This is not a slow ride to Tama-Toledo. So that slow ride was meant to kind of lead me into our headliner of the night.
I thought maybe you were going to sing it. Slow ride.
I won't do that because I do want people to actually show up in a couple weeks. I promise not to sing. I may teach a lot of people how to disco dance, but I promise not to sing.
Anyway, I interrupted you, but what is the reason for saying slow ride?
Not a slow ride day, because our headliner that night is Foghat.
Yes.
So we think we just have this most amazing 70s lineup of entertainment starting at 3:30 in the park.
Wow.
And then we will also be running entertainment with local bands, regional bands in the downtown Tama area as well. We're going to block off both streets on Main Street in Tama, And so you'll have entertainment options on both sides, Tama and Toledo.
Mm,
And then those public bus routes, there's 16 stops. You can get on that bus and go just about anywhere.
nice. That is
And the buses
amazing.
will give you that whole 70s vibe too. We're not going to give up there. They'll be coated in peace signs and groovy signs. And the public school buses are going to look like you jumped back into 1970 as well.
I feel a Partridge Family vibe right now.
We're having a little too much fun with this theme, maybe.
So if people are out walking around in Tama-Toledo, are there a few like great places? You mentioned the Meskwaki area, but are there some like must-see places?
Well, there's one for sure. I'd love to tell everyone to go see the Lincoln Highway Bridge,
Mm-hmm.
but this old 150-year-old bridge is currently under construction, so we're not going to get to do a lot to showcase it. But when they do come to town, as they move towards that main venue at the park, they're going to want to stop and see the iconic statue of the butter cow. So for those listeners that are from Iowa, they absolutely understand what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But for those other listeners, for years and years now, we have carved a butter cow at the Iowa State Fair every year. And the woman who carved the statue for over 40 years, Norma Duffy Lyon,
Mm-hmm.
is from Toledo. So she's always been known as the butter cow lady. And she's known for creating the elaborate, very elaborate butter sculptures at the Iowa State
Mm-hmm.
Fair from 1960 to 2006.
Wow.
Yes. And so we are claim to fame. Our hometown has Norma Duffy Lyon. And so you're going to see some history on the butter cow there.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also a bronze statue of one of the cow and calves that she carved over the years.
And I want to just go one step further with you to say that if listeners have never been to like the Iowa State Fair, it's literally a full-size cow and calf made out of butter. And it
Exactly.
sounds weird, but it's like, I mean, you have to wait in line to see this sculpture. And we were lucky enough when we came through on the inspection ride to get a photograph of it's not made out of butter, but the actual sculpture on a hill. It's beautiful.
Incredible what she did over the years, and what a name she made for the Iowa State Fair in the process.
Yeah. Okay, so we definitely need to get listeners to go get a photo with the butter cow. So that's
With
awesome.
the butter cow. So the other thing that everyone's going to have a lot of opportunity, get on those public buses, because every single public bus stop, we have a local artist who has painted an individual panel for every single bus stop that has a nod to the 70s.
Oh, okay.
It's a disco dancer where you can stick your face in it and get your picture taken. It's a VW microbus where you can look like you're driving the VW microbus down the street. We are going to have photo opportunities for riders in every square inch of the communities.
Okay, so everyone make sure your phone is charged up or whatever device you use to take photos. That's awesome.
We're excited. And a local artist. We can't believe how many things people have touched to get us ready for this process.
Oh, that's great. Well, if people want to know more about Tama-Toledo or specifically RAGBRAI plans, where can they go?
Okay, they can go to our website, which is Tama-Toledo-RAGBRAI.com. Then we also have a Facebook page, Tama-Toledo RAGBRAI 2023. And both of those locations will give you phone message places. They'll give you places to email us.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a direct point of contact who's checking those emails on a daily basis. And we're just funneling those out to the committee chairs and getting answers back to people as quick as we can.
Good. And of course, if you can't, if you can't remember what we just said, you can always go to the ragbrai.com website and then find the link for Tama-Toledo. It'll get you to the same place.
Absolutely.
Good.
Absolutely.
Well, Catherine, thank you so much for coming on the podcast to share a little bit about your community. We are so excited to be there.
We are thrilled. It's going to be a great time, and we can't believe we're saying this, but we feel ready to go. So
Yay.
Get on your bikes and head our way.
Okay. Next up, we have Friday Overnight Town, which is Coralville. And with me today is Nick. Hey, Nick.
Hi, good morning.
Are you ready to tell the world about Coralville?
I'm always ready to talk about Coralville.
Sounds great. Well, before we get into all the facts and fun stuff about the Coralville area, tell the listeners your role on RAGBRAI.
Yes. So my day job, as I am the Director of Public Affairs at the Iowa City Coralville Area Convention and Visitors Bureau, and for our RAGBRAI stop, I'm serving as publicity chair as well as sponsorship chair.
Okay, two very important jobs.
Yes.
Yes. And for listeners who maybe are not familiar with Iowa, I live probably 25 minutes away from Coralville, so I am aware of how it's actually kind of, there are multiple towns that really look like one town. Do you want to hit on that real quick?
Absolutely, yeah. Coralville's part of the Iowa City metro area. So if you're not a local, you might run from Coralville to Iowa City to North Liberty to Tiffin without even knowing that you're leaving a community. But yeah, Coralville is just to the west of Iowa City. It's a population of just over 20,000. And it was started right along the Iowa River as a milling town, and has since grown from there, and really has its own. Once you are a local, it has its own identity and a lot of great people. And what's really neat about hosting RAGBRAI this year on the 50th anniversary of RAGBRAI is that it's the 150th birthday of the city of Coralville.
Oh, so nice.
We are taking that into account, and our theme is Cheers to the Years. And if you can see our logo for the event, it morphs the 150 and the 50 together into a bicycle shape, and we're having a lot of fun with that.
Excellent. And has RAGBRAI come through Coralville in the past?
Yes, this is the this is the 6th time that it's come to Coralville. So we've hosted 5 times in the past. Back as early as 1995 was the first time Coralville hosted an overnight, and then as late as I believe it was 2015 that it was here last.
All right. And I know I had a blast in 2015 coming to Coralville and going to the, is it called the Iowa River Landing area?
Right, yeah. The Iowa River Landing. And if you were there during that time, it hardly looks the same as it did then, because now we have a brand new 5,000-seat hockey arena in there, as well as a 5 basketball court-sized field house. And a bunch of new restaurants and shops and hotels. So it is one of the up and coming areas in all of Iowa and the Midwest.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want you to tell the listeners about what they can expect when they get into Coralville. But before we do that, will you tell everyone what those last few miles of biking are going to be like getting into Coralville?
Yeah, I'm unfortunately I don't think a lot of riders are going to be as that pleased with it, but you will be happy when you get to Coralville. The last few miles are fairly treacherous, fairly hilly, as you go from the last community, Oxford, into Coralville, along what we call IWV, which is also Melrose Avenue for those Hawkeye fans that know where Melrose Avenue is, that leads into Kinnick Stadium. But before you go all the way to Kinnick, you take off and go north into Coralville. But what's also really cool about the route is that it goes through the Amana colonies, in between Tama and Coralville. So I know the Amana colonies that's a great place to go for a day ride or a weekend ride if you're up to it. But you'll get to go through there and experience the history that Amana has, as well as the great beer at the Millstream Brewery up there, which is the oldest operating brewery in the state of Iowa. So that's going to be a good treat.
And in theory, we've all been riding the whole week, so our legs should be ready for those hills coming into Coralville. And
I hope so.
Yeah, and then once we hit Coralville, I know there's plenty to celebrate there. So give us an idea of what riders will see as they're rolling in.
Yeah, so right as you're coming into town, we're funneling everyone to the main area, the main what's nice about Coralville is that it sets up really well to have the main entertainment and main campgrounds all together in one area. So you'll come in. We've got an archway that is going to be your Instagram worthy shot when you arrive into the main area. I can't reveal the details of it yet, but it's going to be very impressive to ride under and take your picture with and enter into town. And so it's at St. Morrison Park, which is right in the heart of Coralville. So it's also surrounded, we have all the amenities nearby too. So if in addition to all the food vendors and other vendors that are going to be there, if you need to run to a grocery store where you're not far away, if you want to go sit at an actual restaurant, there's going to be plenty within riding distance, or take our shuttle and go around town, and including to the Iowa River Landing that we just talked about.
Mm-hmm. And I'm assuming, besides the big headliner that we have planned in Coralville, you have entertainment all throughout the day, correct?
Yes, we've got 3 stages that are going to be set up with music all day long. So, in the headliner, of course, Bush, will take the stage around 8:30 that night. And they're getting opened up by an all-female rock group named Plush, whose lead singer was on season 13 of The Voice on television. But on the main stage, we'll have other acts starting at 4 o'clock. Local Iowa legend Kevin B.F. Burt and his band, The Big Machine, will be on stage. He's a Hall of Famer. 42 Romeo will take the stage after that, which they're an offshoot of the Sidewinders military band, and they're fantastic with the horn section and everything. We've got a family stage sponsored by MetroNet, and we're starting at 10 a.m. on that stage. So there's if you're getting into town really early, there's going to be stuff for you. So DJ Buck will be spinning some music, and then we've got Juggling Jesters. Nick Stitka will be on at 2 o'clock, and at 3:30 the Black Donnellys, which is a national touring act, and I actually just saw they have a documentary out on Hulu that you can watch, where they attempted to do to perform in all 50 states within a 50-week period. It was really cool.
Wow.
So, and they're a fun Irish duo that just play guitars and have a lot of fun. So, and then we also have the food pantry stage, which will be up closer to the main campground. Not that any of them are very far away from each other, but we've got a few different bands there, notably the Dandelion Stompers, which is an Iowa City act.
Oh yeah.
And a big favorite. So we got all those, and then we also have the non-music stuff. So we got the Midwest One Bank Kids Zone. Well, that'll open at 10 a.m. There's going to be inflatables and face painting and balloon artists and all sorts of things going on there. And then Hills Bank has sponsored our free movies, which will take place in the Coralville Center for the Performing Arts, which is just a block away from the main campus area there, and they'll be showing Up at 12:30, The Fast and the Furious at 2:15, Tommy Boy at 4:15, and Top Gun Maverick at 6.
Ooh.
And so any of those movies, and then you can cool off in there and then come back out and watch the main stage. So. And, of course, we are next to the home of the University of Iowa, so you will definitely be seeing Herky the Hawk walking around campus and taking pictures with him.
Oh, that sounds so much fun. And you mentioned that everything's kind of in the same area as far as being compact as campgrounds, and I'm assuming food vendors will be there as well as all the entertainment you mentioned, correct?
Yep, all within really a 1 or 2 block area. The park itself stretches out to the north and includes Northwest Junior High and then the Kirkwood Elementary School. So there's just a lot of green space that's that stretches all the way up to the north, and so it's really handy to have all the food vendors, all of the non-food vendors, medical facilities, the medical tent there, and all the entertainment, all within that one area of the main campus.
Okay, good. And you mentioned, Iowa City is kind of a connector city to you and home of the University of Iowa. But what are some must-see places in Coralville that you want listeners to check out?
Yeah, definitely when you're in town. If you got kids, the Iowa Children's Museum at the Coral Ridge Mall is a must-see. If you are riding with kids or they're going to meet you here, that's a good one. The Antique Car Museum of Iowa is in the Iowa River Landing. So if you are a car buff and car historian, that is definitely a must-see because it is the best car museum in the state of Iowa. And Coralville was named Coralville because of the coral reefs that were found in the area back when in the Devonian age when Iowa was a seafloor. So there is exposed coral that you can go see at the Devonian Fossil Gorge, which is just at the dam of the Iowa of the Coralville Lake, Coralville Reservoir on the Iowa River, just north of town. So
wow!
Those are definite musts.
Good. And then, so everyone's going to have a blast at all the music and just all the experiences in Coralville. They'll wake up in the morning and they will be exiting, but they probably won't realize when they leave Coralville because Iowa City is, like we mentioned, it's connected. But do you have things set up in the morning for us, or are we just going to be riding on, towards Davenport?
We've got a fantastic way to exit town because you will be going through historic Kinnick Stadium and riding your bike through the concourse of what we like to call the Mecca of college football. And it's a fantastic opportunity that we've never had before. And so you'll be able to go through those concourse and perform a wave up to the children up in the Children's Hospital. So it's going to be a very special Saturday morning when you're leaving town.
That is spectacular. So that means riders will get to experience both Kinnick Stadium, home of the Iowa Hawkeyes, and then also Jack Trice Stadium, which is home of the Iowa State Cyclones. So
that's right.
And I think listeners who are not from Iowa will know pretty quickly who are the Hawkeye fans and who are the Cyclone fans, right?
Yes, indeed. Especially on that Friday, because that is Jersey Day.
Yes.
So all the riders are encouraged to wear their favorite sports team's jerseys. So there will be a lot of back and forth for the black and gold and red and gold too.
Yeah. Well, where can listeners look for more information, as they're coming towards Sioux City, getting ready to do RAGBRAI?
Yeah, CoralvilleRAGBRAI.com is our home, and that's where you can link off to all of our social medias and all the maps and entertainment and everything else that we've got going on. So CoralvilleRAGBRAI.com. Another good thing I should mention is that our main campus will have free Wi-Fi throughout because IMON Communications has set us up with really high-powered Wi-Fi in that area. So we're excited about that.
Wow, that's going to be a treat too if we can actually get phone service.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, thank you so much, Nick, for coming on the podcast to tell us about Coralville. And by this point in the week, everyone's going to be, feeling a little sad that it's almost over, but also really excited to come into your community.
Yep, we're excited to host them. We're going to be ready.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, Murph.
Well, riders, we've made it to the final day, Coralville to Davenport. And with me is Joan.
Joan Kranovich, and I am Vice President of Business Growth and Director of Sports QC here at Visit Quad Cities.
Awesome.
So Visit Quad, yeah.
Well, I just wanted to say welcome, Joan. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to be here. This is my fourth RAGBRAI here at Visit Quad Cities. So just really excited for the 50th this year.
Oh, yeah. And what's your role as far as RAGBRAI specific? Are you, I mean, because you're kind of dealing with things that happen in the city, like that's your day job. So what are you doing different for RAGBRAI?
Oh, it's all hands on deck for RAGBRAI within
Sure.
Visit Quad Cities. Yeah, and then with the city of Davenport too. So in my day job, I'm all about recruiting events and bringing these events, like whether it's a meeting, convention, group tour, we have these large ships that come through the Quad Cities or the sports tournaments that come in. I'm all about bringing them in and then making sure they have a great experience. So RAGBRAI falls right in line with that. We're excited to find out we will be the host for the end of the RAGBRAI 50. And, of course, then we were taking on a lot of event management responsibilities. Not every event that we would throw all of our hands on deck and, shut down basically the office for the summer to make sure we get everything done for RAGBRAI or for the event. But this event, of course, is taking over a lot of our time, and we're really, looking forward to seeing all of these cyclists come in. One thing that's kind of interesting about Davenport is that they will roll in, will be the first impression for them for RAGBRAI, because a lot of people park their cars and then ride motor coaches across Iowa.
Oh, sure.
And then will be their last impression as they finish and have that, great feeling of dipping their tire in the Mississippi River and then heading to their respective homes. So something interesting that, it's just fun for us. We get to be, not many times, are we, if there's an event that's a series, are we the first and the last impression? A lot of times we're somewhere in between, or
Sure.
one or the other.
And I think, I'll speak on behalf of all riders. At this point in the week, it's kind of like a love-hate. I really want to get home into my own bed and take a shower, but I really don't want RAGBRAI to be over with. So
Yes.
give us an idea of what riders can expect in Davenport, because, of course, we all want to dip our tire, but there's so much to do and see in Davenport. We want to make sure that people take a little time to explore the area.
Yeah, for sure. We hope that people, if you are coming in the weekend before to park your car, you take some time, because that is your time, as you're mentally preparing and physically preparing to be riding 500 miles. We hope that you'll come in and get to experience some of our restaurants, or we have distilleries, breweries, wineries. We have a lot of history in Davenport, a lot of just great things to see and do. Of course, the river is one of our major components that people love to come in, but all the riders will be experiencing that as they roll back into Davenport. There's a great sky bridge, so if you wanted to take in, hey, this is where we're going to end, and just kind of reflect on it, there's a great sky bridge in downtown Davenport. There are lots of little shops that people can walk around. Some of the fun areas that are not necessarily right where they'll be dipping or where people will be camping. But you can't miss out on John Deere. I mean, you're in the Quad Cities, and we are the home of John Deere World Headquarters. So if you could, come in or spend that extra night and hit John Deere Pavilion, or just kind of take in some of the John Deere store and some of the attractions within John Deere. We also are home of the American Pickers, so a lot of people watch that on the History Channel.
Oh, sure.
In LeClaire, Iowa, so it's just a 15, 20-minute drive depending on where you're staying, getting to LeClaire and spending the afternoon, spending the night, and checking out the American Pickers Antique Archaeology Store. We just, as people, we have a lot of fun planned for people when they roll into Davenport, not specifically like what we would normally have. We will have, a gold road for coming in, so they'll be able to finish in style. We'll have balloon arches. We'll have roaming entertainers. We're going to have a great festival atmosphere in Centennial Park. So in the years past, we might have had it a little bit further down the river to keep people moving through our downtown. But we decided this year we're going to make sure it's part of the experience. Right after you dip your tire in the Mississippi River, you can roll through and go have, that last Tailwinds beer, or some of our local QC Ale Trail brews in that beverage garden, and listen to some music and have some food, and then keep rolling through our farmers market, which is one of the best in the Midwest. So as you keep going, you just keep seeing things that are great. I mean, we've got the Modern Woodman Park, which is the home of the Quad Cities River Bandits, and that is right next to where people are dipping their tires and then going to the festival. They have a game, of course, on that the 29th. So if riders can spend the night, they can go to a baseball game for pretty inexpensively.
Oh,
It's
wow.
only like $10 or
Yeah.
less. I mean, depending on where you want to sit in the park, and it's one of the top ballparks, minor league ballparks. They're part of the Kansas City Royals family, so great team, great views, just a nice place to relax, have a little bit more fun in the Quad Cities. And then they can continue on, and we will have our Union Station Destination Center with some festival atmosphere right behind it. There's just a lot happening in Davenport always, and then the Quad Cities, but then there's a lot happening that day too on the 29th.
Sure. And I am absolutely I cannot be more excited about having a gold road as you roll into your last
Yes.
couple miles. That is so cool.
Yeah, we are very excited. We got 900 pounds of dry gold paint, so it'll be mixed up and it'll be even more. It'll cover about, it sounds long or short depending on your perspective, but about 15,000 square or 15,000 feet is what it'll cover. So as that last mile, basically, you'll hit the gold road and you'll have just that feeling of, hey, I did it, and we can celebrate this 50th anniversary ride.
And I was part of the inspection team, so I've already seen the dip site. But do you want to touch base on how you're going to accommodate thousands and thousands of people dipping their tires?
Yes, definitely. So we anticipate, every year, if at certain times, people all arrive around a certain time. So we anticipate there being probably a line waiting to dip. But we have a DJ set up. There's going to be a DJ booth down there. There is going to be an area where people can roll their bike up onto a stage, not next to the dip site, but really close to it, and they can take some pictures as you're waiting in line. There's going to be some vendors, whether you need a drink in line. There's going to be a lot to keep your mind and just occupied and just have a little bit of fun. So it's not just standing in a line in a hot weather. So there's going to be a lot going on down there. We're going to have a misting tent and keep everybody, cool, and just really looking forward to their, group or individual shot at the Mississippi River in the dip site area. So there'll be some great iconic backgrounds and lots of course, RAGBRAI 50 and Davenport RAGBRAI signage right as they're dipping their tires.
So if I'm hearing you right, we need to make sure we keep our phones charged that day so we can take plenty of photographs on said phone.
Definitely. We have plenty of volunteers to take your photo, but they might not have your phone number to send it to you. So hopefully you keep your phone charged, roll in, and we have plenty of people taking photos. We even have an MC down there to just kind of check in with people. Where are you from? How long did it take you to get from Coralville, or what's your favorite experience? So we're going to have some fun with it. And just really hopefully people enjoy their experience as they're ending the iconic week.
Oh, great. And something worth addressing, we talked about this before we pushed record, but there's a little bit of concern from riders that it's also the same day as BIX, which is a huge running event. And we both kind of laughed about it, but do you want to touch on that a little bit?
Yes, so it is. This is the secret that always comes out right away, that it's the same day as our Quad City Times BIX 7, which is a 7-mile road race that happens always the last Saturday in July. And it usually brings between 10 and 15,000 people to town. This year it's like the National 7-Mile Championship qualifying race. So there'll be a lot of Olympic hopefuls and people that are really elite runners from the United States taking part in the event. So it is a big year for that event too. And as it goes from its 49th year to its 50th, it's a big deal for them. But this is not our first rodeo in hosting BIX 7 as well as RAGBRAI the same day. It does always usually land on that day. So we have it all prepared. We've been meeting a lot. More than 25, 30 times with whether it's the police department, whether it's, with the organizers of the BIX, whether it's with the people that would bring those two together and host festivals that could, be accommodating to both groups, whether you're running the BIX or whether you're finishing RAGBRAI. So we have a great plan. There's, of course, a few road closures, but It'll be just feel like a festival and a celebratory atmosphere in downtown Davenport. What happens with Bix is it runs early, so people start arriving between 6 and 7:30 in the morning to run, and then they're done. I mean, everything wraps up with them by about 11 a.m.
Okay.
And with RAGBRAI, a lot of people start rolling in, between 9:30 and 10:30, and really things kick off around 11 a.m. So it really works out for, volunteers and the police and fire and EMS to all be able to cover. It is a long day for everybody that's involved, and it's going to be a fun day. But it's not going to be, a traffic nightmare. It's not going to be, any sort of issue having the two events happening at once.
But I can guarantee you guys are all going to need a nap the next day, right?
I agree. I keep telling everyone I can't wait to sleep a little bit on July 30th.
Well, good. And then the last topic to address, just because you're unique in that people, get to see you. A lot of people see you at the beginning of the week and at the end of the week. But do you have logistics well thought out as far as riders coming in and traffic going out as far as vehicles?
Yes, we do. And I know there's a lot of people who maybe have ridden before and they probably have a tried and true location. But we have encouraged people, especially those teams that are meeting a large group of people, to get in touch with us. We've been working with the RAGBRAI organizers for many, many months. And what is happening with the support vehicles to keep them off that road with, potentially tens and tens of thousands of people coming through. They're going to be going through Illinois. We're, unique, this bi-state great regional destination. So we have lots of parking lots and not as much happening in our downtowns in Rock Island, Illinois, and Moines, Illinois.
Oh, okay.
So we have some spots set aside at the QCCA Expo Center, at Vibrant Arena, at the Mark. We have, the Isle Casino Hotel has a lot going on, but there's some infrastructure there where we'll get you a couple miles away from the dip site. That way everyone can get in and get out easily. It's all flat to get to these places, and we have several bridges that people can cross to get to their support vehicle. Of course, we're going to have people that will probably go a little bit north of the river and meet their rides, and there is, we have slots that will be available for that, but we would encourage you, if, you're meeting a group of people or still looking for that location, get in touch with us. We'll help you, and we are mapping out, where are these support vehicles exactly going to be parked and how are we getting them in and out easily.
Wow, you've got it nailed. I mean, it's obvious you guys have done this before, right?
Yes, we have. It's I've been involved 2011, 2015, and 2018. So I wasn't here in 1973. I think that was the year before the last time we hosted it before 2011. So it took a little while to get everyone back. But as you can see, RAGBRAI does enjoy coming here, and we really enjoy welcoming people twice, of course, to the area.
Excellent. And where can listeners go if they want to do some research or figure out, maybe they do want to find out an alternative place to park?
DavenportRAGBRAI.com. And then if you go on to Facebook, we also have a Facebook page. RAGBRAI Davenport, I believe, is the page for that. So it flips it around. But DavenportRAGBRAI.com has everything you would need to know and how to contact us. And we should still have a few parking spots left. I know that's the big question. And we will have just a great atmosphere, whether you're coming in July 21st and 22nd or you're here on the 29th.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Joan, for taking the time to talk to us. And we are so excited to come visit you very, very soon.
We're excited to have you.
Well, listeners, that is it for this week. We both want to thank you for tuning in to listen to the Just Go Bike podcast.
And if you'd like to contact us with a comment about the podcast, or maybe you have a topic in mind, you can reach us at justgobikepodcast@gmail.com, or you can also follow us on social media at Just Go Bike on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Please rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast, especially if you're a fan. And if you have any extra time, pop on over to the Murphology podcast for more bike adventure interviews.
All right, that's a wrap. We'll be back next week. Until then, just go bike!